Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are opening up a toolkit that I think a lot of people think they know, but they've, probably only seen the cover. We're digging into the second edition of Ramit Sethi's I Will Teach You to Be Rich.
Hmm.
And I have to say, right off the bat, the title is, well, it's a little aggressive.
It is aggressive. It's provocative.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you saw it on a shelf without knowing the context, you'd probably think, okay, here comes the scam.
Yeah, exactly.
Here comes the late-night infomercial pitch.
It just screams, get rich quick. But as we went through the material, the book itself, the case studies, all the new updates for this second edition, it became pretty clear that this is actually the opposite of a get rich quick scheme.
Right.
It's more like a get rich slowly and boringly scheme.
Which doesn't make for a great book title, but it makes for a much, much better financial life.
True.
The core premise here is what really hooks you, I think.
Yeah.
Most financial advice is all about deprivation. It's the latte factor.
Oh, the dreaded latte factor.
Right. It's don't buy the avocado toast. It's clip coupons until your fingers bleed. Ramit Sethi takes that entire philosophy and he just throws it in the trash.
It's a permission slip. That's the vibe I got from the whole thing.
It is a permission slip. His argument is that you should spend extravagantly on the things you love, as long as you cut costs mercilessly on the things you don't.
So it's about an offensive strategy, not just defense.
Exactly. It's about deciding what your rich life looks like and then flooding that area with resources while, being absolutely ruthless about cutting the rest.
And that brings us to the hook he uses to frame the whole methodology. He asks this question that I think makes you pause immediately. Would you rather be sexy or rich?
It's such a trap, right? Because intuitively, we want both. But in finance, he argues, they're usually mutually exclusive.
How so?
Sexy is what you hear about at a dinner party. It's, oh, I put some money into this new crypto coin, or I found this small cap stock that's going to the moon.
Right.
It's active. It's thrilling. It feels a little bit like gambling.
And it feeds the ego. You feel like you know something others don't. It's that dopamine hit of, I beat the system.
Precisely. But the rich approach, it's incredibly, almost painfully boring.
Okay.
It's automated. It's low-cost index funds. It's setting up a system one time and then basically ignoring it for 30 years.
And the data shows.
Well, Sethi's data and, frankly, decades of market data shows that the sexy approach usually loses money in the long run, while the boring approach is what actually builds real wealth.
So our mission today is to walk through that boring but beautiful machine. We're going to move from looking for lottery tickets to building a system that funds what he calls a rich life. And we should probably define that because rich is a really loaded word.
It is. And in this context, rich doesn't necessarily mean a bank account with 8 zeros. It's completely subjective.
Right.
In the text, he highlights these wildly different profiles. For one person, a rich life is being able to buy $300 cashmere sweaters without a shred of guilt.
Which, to a frugality blogger, sounds like a cardinal sin.
Right. But for that person, that's the joy. For someone else, it's a month-long trip to Croatia every single summer.
Oh, okay, that's a good one.
And my favorite example, just because it's so grounded and relatable, is the person whose rich life is just being able to walk into a restaurant, order appetizers and drinks, and never once even glance at the price column on the menu.
That is the dream. That is quiet luxury right there.
It really is. So the structure of our deep dive today is going to mirror the 6-week program in the book. We're going to go from the psychology, the why, straight into the mechanics.
Okay.
We'll cover optimizing your credit cards and banks. We'll kill the traditional budget with something called a conscious spending plan.
I'm looking forward to that part.
Then we'll build the automation machine, and finally, we'll tackle investing.
And we're going to get specific. We aren't just going to say invest wisely. We're going to talk about the ladder of personal finance and exactly where your next dollar should go.
From mindset to math, that's the journey.
So let's start with part 1. The philosophy and the psychology. Because Ramit makes this point really early on. If information was all we needed, we'd all be billionaires with six-pack abs.
It's maybe the truest statement in the entire book. We all know we should save more. We know we should exercise more. The problem isn't a knowledge gap. It's a behavior gap. And to close that gap, we have to talk about what he calls invisible scripts.
These are the narratives running in the background of our mental operating system.
Exactly. And they're usually inherited. Maybe you heard your parents say, we don't talk about money in this house.
Oh, that's a big one.
A huge one.
Yeah.
Or the stock market is just gambling for rich people, or the one that gets everyone, you are throwing money away on rent.
Oh, we are definitely going to get into that one later. I have thoughts.
We will. But the point is, these scripts dictate your actions without you even realizing it. If you subconsciously believe credit cards are a scam, you won't optimize them for rewards.
Right.
If you believe the system is rigged against you, you won't even bother to invest. Sethi argues, and I think he's right, that until you identify and consciously rewrite these scripts, the math doesn't matter. You'll just self-sabotage.
He also touches on what he calls victim culture. Now, this felt a little harsh when I first read it, but I see where he's going.
It's definitely tough love.
Yeah.
He has zero patience for people who just complain about the macroeconomy without taking action. You hear things like, baby boomers ruin the housing market, or student loans make it impossible to get ahead.
And I mean, those are real issues.
They are real systemic issues, and he acknowledges that. But his point is about your locus of control. Complaining about the Fed doesn't put an extra $100 in your pocket this month. Optimizing your spending does.
It's about focusing on the very small circle of things you can actually change.
Yes.
He uses this analogy comparing money to food, which I thought was really sticky.
It's the perfect parallel, isn't it? Why
Yeah.
do we gain weight? It's rarely some deep metabolic mystery. It's because we eat more calories than we burn.
Simple math.
Simple math. But instead of focusing on that, we debate the minutia. We argue about keto versus paleo versus veganism. We look for the magic pill.
And in the world of money, we debate active versus passive investing or try to pick individual stocks.
While ignoring the absolute basics, spend less than you earn, invest the difference. We get paralyzed trying to find the perfect answer. And this leads to one of his most important concepts, the 85% solution.
Don't live in the spreadsheet. I love that line.
Right. It is so much better to get your money 85% right and get on with your life than to do nothing because you're terrified of not being 100% optimized.
So you don't need to be perfect.
You don't need to extract every single fraction of a cent. You just need to get the big things right, and the rest will sort of take care of itself.
Okay, so let's assume we're on board. We're ready to get the big things right. Let's get into the setup. Part 2. Credit cards and banks. This is weeks 1 and 2 of his program.
The plumbing, the absolute plumbing of your financial life.
And he starts with credit cards. Now, the Dave Ramsey school of thought says, cut them up. Plastic is evil. Sethi says, no, play offense.
He frames credit cards as these high-powered tools. If you use them correctly, they offer thousands of dollars a year in perks, extended warranties, travel insurance, fraud protection, points, cash back.
But there are rules, the 6 commandments of credit cards, as he calls them.
There are rules.
And the biggest one, the one you cannot break.
You have to pay it off in full, every single month, no exceptions. If you are carrying a balance, the math breaks immediately because the interest rates are astronomical, like 20 or 25%.
So all those rewards get wiped out instantly.
Instantly.
Yeah.
But if you pay it off, it's basically an interest-free loan for 30 days, plus you get all the rewards. It's a no-brainer.
Now, this is where the deep dive promise comes in. He gives actual actionable tactics for dealing with fees. Let's say I slipped up, I missed a payment, or I got hit with an annual fee I didn't want. Most people just pay it in jumble.
Right.
What does Ramit say to do?
You negotiate. He calls it the Indian negotiation method. Leaning into his heritage a bit there. The script is essentially this. Be polite, be firm, and have your data ready.
So, okay, let's role play it for a second. I'm the bank. You're the customer. Ring, ring.
Hi, I noticed a $35 late fee on my statement from last month. I've been a loyal customer for about 4 years now, and I'd really hate for this one mistake to ruin our relationship. What can you do to help me remove this?
What can you do for me? That open-ended question is the key, isn't it? It's not a demand.
It puts the burden on them to find a solution. And because acquiring a new customer costs the bank so much money, we're talking hundreds of dollars in marketing. Waiving a $35 fee to keep you happy is an easy decision for them.
And he says this works for lowering your APR too, your interest rate.
It works more often than you would think. You just call and say, hi, I have a great credit score and other companies are offering me lower rates. I'd like to stay with you. What can you do to lower my APR? The worst they can say is no.
That's wild. Just asking.
Just asking. Now, speaking of interest, we have to address debt. If you are sitting on credit card debt, he says that is a hair-on-fire emergency.
And there's always this debate, the math approach versus the psychology approach.
Right, the avalanche versus the snowball. Mathematically, you should always pay off the card with the highest interest rate first. That will save you the most money in interest over time, period.
But we aren't robots. We aren't spreadsheets.
Exactly. The snowball method, popularized by Dave Ramsey, says you should pay off the smallest balance first, regardless of the interest rate,
Why would you do that?
because you get a quick win. You see a bill disappear completely. That little dopamine hit of success keeps you motivated to attack the next one and the next one.
So what's Sethi's take on it?
He's very pragmatic. He says if you're a disciplined, math-oriented person, do the avalanche. If you need motivation and quick wins to stay in the game, do the snowball. The best plan is the one you will actually stick to.
Right, the 85% solution again.
It's all connected.
Moving on to banks. This seems so basic, but I feel like we all get lazy here.
We get so lazy. We stick with the big national bank our parents used or the one that has an ATM on the corner, even if it's terrible.
And they usually are terrible.
They are. They charge monthly maintenance fees if your balance dips too low, and they pay us effectively zero interest on our savings.
It's like 0.01%. It's insulting.
It is insulting. Sethi's ideal setup is super simple. 1, a no-fee checking account, which you can usually find in an online bank or local credit union. And 2, a high-yield online savings account.
There's a funny bit of history here regarding the first edition of the book.
Oh, the 5% interest rate saga.
Yeah.
In the first edition, which came out in, 2009? Right before the financial crisis really hit. Yeah. Back then, online banks like ING Direct were offering 5% interest.
Oh.
So Ramit wrote that down. Then 2008 happened. The Fed slashed rates to near zero, and he got all this hate mail. People were calling him a liar because they could now only get 0.5%.
But that kind of misses the point.
It completely misses the principle. The principle is that high-yield savings accounts always pay multiples more than traditional brick-and-mortar banks. It doesn't matter if the absolute number is 5% or 4% or 1%. The point is, if your bank is paying you 0.01% and an online bank is paying 4%, you are leaving free money on the table every single day.
It's about optimizing the system, not fixating on a static number from a book written a decade ago.
Exactly. Rates change, but the system works.
Okay, so the plumbing is set. Our credit cards are earning us points. Our savings are actually earning interest. Now we get to the part that I think liberates people the most. Part 3. Conscious spending. This is week 4.
This is where we kill the budget.
RIP, budget. Why is he so anti-budget? I feel like that's the first thing every financial guru tells you to do.
Because budgets are like fad diets. They are restrictive, they rely on willpower, which is a finite resource, and they are backward-looking.
What do you mean by backward-looking?
You get to the end of the month, you open your spreadsheet, and you say, oh no, I spent way too much on tacos again. It's too late. It's just an exercise in guilt management.
So what is the alternative? The conscious spending plan.
It's forward-looking. You decide where your money is going to go before the month even starts. He breaks it down into 4 simple buckets with very specific target percentages.
Okay, let's run through the numbers. Bucket 1.
Fixed costs. This should be about 50 to 60% of your take-home pay. This is your rent or mortgage, utilities, car payments, any debt minimums, and groceries, the survival stuff.
Got it. Bucket 2.
Investments. This should be 10% of your take-home pay. This is your 401k, your Roth IRA. This is the get-rich bucket.
Okay, bucket 3.
Savings goals. This is about 5 to 10%. This is for specific medium-term things. Saving for a wedding, a house down payment, a big vacation, Christmas gifts.
And bucket 4, the fun one.
The fun one. Guilt-free spending. This is the remaining 20 to 35% of your income.
And this is the game changer. The idea is, if you have taken care of the first 3 buckets, if the math works and your bills are paid and you've invested and saved, you must spend that last 35%.
You have to. It's mandatory. You shouldn't save it just in case. You should enjoy it. This is where your rich life comes in.
He tells this great story about his friend who spends something like $21,000 a year going out to bars and clubs.
Which sounds absolutely insane, financially reckless.
On the surface, yes. But then he gives you the context. This guy lives in a tiny, cheap apartment, he doesn't own a car, and his investments are fully automated and maxed out.
Right.
He cut costs mercilessly on housing and transportation, 2 of the biggest expenses, so he could spend extravagantly on his social life, which is what he loved. That is conscious spending.
And that's the difference between being cheap and being conscious.
A huge difference.
A cheap person tries to get the absolute lowest price on everything. They'll drive across town to save 40 cents on gas. They argue with waiters. They are miserable to be around.
We all know that person.
We do. A conscious spender cares about value. They will happily pay full price for the thing they love, but they won't spend a single dime on things they don't care about. It's a scalpel, not a sledgehammer.
To get to those numbers, though, you often have to cut the fat. I love his a la carte method for subscriptions.
It's a great mental hack. It's so simple. He suggests canceling everything. Netflix, the gym membership, the magazines, all of it. Just turn it all off.
That's terrifying.
It is for a second. Then, for 1 month, buy everything one-off. Rent a movie on iTunes. Buy a day pass to the gym. Buy one issue of the magazine at the newsstand.
It forces you to feel the pain of each individual purchase.
Exactly. And if you find yourself buying a gym day pass 15 times in that month, fine, resubscribe. You've proven its value to you. But what you'll probably find is that you don't actually miss half the junk you're paying for automatically.
And for the people who really struggle with overspending in that guilt-free bucket, he suggests the good old-fashioned envelope system.
Yeah, old school, but it's so effective. If you constantly blow your budget on dining out, take that specific amount, say $400 out in cash at the start of the month. Put it in an envelope that says restaurants. When that envelope is empty, you are eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches until the 1st of next month.
No exception.
It turns an abstract number on a screen into a very real physical constraint.
Okay, so we have the plan. The conscious spending plan is our map. But a map requires discipline, and humans are, notoriously terrible at discipline.
We are.
That leads us to part 4. Automation, the save while sleeping system.
The goal here is ambitious, but it's achievable. Ramit wants you to spend less than 90 minutes a month managing your money.
Which sounds completely impossible if you're currently stressing over bills every week.
It's only impossible if you're doing it manually.
Yeah.
The core insight here is what he calls the psychology of defaults. We are fundamentally lazy. If you have to remember to manually transfer $500 to your savings account on the 15th, you'll forget or you'll put it off. But if it happens automatically in the background, you're not going to take the effort to log in and stop it.
So help us visualize the architecture of this system. How does the money flow automatically?
Okay, so imagine your checking account is the central hub. All money enters here. Your paycheck hits via direct deposit.
Right. Money is in the hub.
Now, you set up a series of automatic transfers to kick in on specific dates right after you get paid. Let's say you get paid on the 1st. On the 2nd, an auto transfer sends your 10% for investments to your Roth IRA.
Okay.
On the 3rd, an auto transfer sends your 5% for savings to your high-yield savings account. On the 7th, your credit card is set to auto-pay full statement balance. Your rent is auto-paid. Your car insurance is auto-paid.
So by the time you actually log in to check your balance to see what you have for groceries or fun,
The responsible money is already gone.
Yeah.
It's been allocated. It never even tempted you. What you see left in the checking account is truly your guilt-free spending money to burn.
he calls this the next $100 concept, which I like.
Right. You should be able to know, without thinking, exactly where your next $100 of income goes. Okay, $10 to investments, $5 to savings, $60 to fixed costs, and $25 to me. It removes all the decision fatigue.
But setting this all up, it sounds like a real headache, finding passwords, linking accounts.
It is. It's a pain. He calls it the curve of doing more before doing less. You might spend 5 or 10 hours this weekend getting it all set up. It's annoying. But you do that work one time to save literally thousands of hours of stress and manual work over the next 40 years of your life.
It's the ultimate lazy hack. Work hard once so you can be lazy forever.
That's precisely what it is.
All right, now we get to the heavy hitter, part 5, investing. This is weeks 3 and 6 in the book. This is where people get scared or they get greedy.
Yeah, this is where the mistakes get really expensive. They think they need to be a stock-picking genius. They think they need to time the market and beat everyone else.
But Ramit gives us a very specific, very clear roadmap. He calls it the ladder of personal finance. I want to climb this ladder rung by rung because he stresses that the order matters immensely.
The order is absolutely critical.
So rung 1, the first thing you do with your investment money.
Your 401k match. If your employer offers a match, a common one is they'll match 100% of your contributions up to, say, 3% of your salary. You must contribute that 3%.
Why is that so important?
Because it is literally free money.
Oh.
It is a 100% immediate return on your investment. There is no other investment in the world that can beat that. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200 until you are getting your full company match.
Okay, clear enough. Rung 2.
Pay off high-interest debt. If you have credit card debt at a 20% APR, paying that off is a guaranteed 20% return on your money. The stock market might give you an average of 8% in a good year. Paying off that debt gives you a guaranteed 20%. The math is undeniable.
Right, so you're getting a better return by paying off debt than by investing in that moment.
By a huge margin.
Okay, rung 3.
The Roth IRA. This is Ramit's favorite investment account, and for good reason. You contribute post-tax money, it grows completely tax-free, and most importantly, you can pull it out completely tax-free in retirement. He says to max this out if you possibly can.
And why the Roth IRA before putting more into the 401k at the step?
A couple of reasons. First, the tax-free withdrawal in retirement is a huge advantage, especially if you think you'll be in a higher tax bracket later in life. Second, the Roth IRA you open yourself usually has way better, lower-cost investment options than your company's often limited 401k plan.
Okay, that makes sense. Rung 4.
Now, you go back to your 401k and fill it up to the maximum annual limit if you can afford to.
Rung 5.
The HSA, the health savings account. If you have a high-deductible health plan that makes you eligible for one, this account is a unicorn. It's triple tax advantaged.
How so?
You get a tax deduction when you put money in. The money grows tax-free, and you can withdraw it tax-free for any qualified medical expenses. It's the best retirement account that most people don't even know is a retirement account.
And finally, Rung 6, if you're lucky enough to get there.
Taxable investment accounts. This is just a regular brokerage account for any money you have left over after maxing out all those other tax-advantaged accounts.
So that's where the money goes. But the big question is, what do we actually buy inside these accounts? This brings us to what he calls the myth of financial expertise.
This is where Sethi really goes to war with the Wall Street establishment. He argues, with a mountain of data to back it up, that experts, these active fund managers who charge you high fees to pick stocks for you, cannot consistently beat the market.
He uses the wine tasting analogy, which I just loved.
It's perfect, isn't it?
Yeah.
In blind taste tests, so-called wine experts often can't tell the difference between a $10 bottle of wine and a $100 bottle. He says professional stock pickers are the same. They're mostly guessing, but they look very confident while they do it.
But they charge you a lot for that guess.
The fees. The fees are the silent killer of your wealth. A 1% or 2% management fee sounds so tiny. It sounds insignificant.
Right. What's 1%?
But because of the power of compound interest, over a 30 or 40-year time frame, a seemingly small 2% annual fee can eat up 30 to 40% of your total potential returns.
Wait, say that again? A 2% fee can eat 40% of your total wealth.
Yes, because that 2% is taken out every single year, reducing the base amount of money that can compound for you the next year and the year after that. It is a massive, silent erosion of your wealth. You end up giving half your money to a guy in a suit who probably didn't even beat the market for you anyway.
So what is the alternative? If we don't pay an expert, what do we buy?
He lays out two main paths. The simplest, the one that perfectly fits the 85% solution, is a target date fund.
How does that work?
It's brilliantly simple. You just pick the year you think you want to retire, say 2060. You buy the Target Retirement 2060 fund. That one fund automatically buys a diversified mix of stocks and bonds for you. And here's the magic. As you get older and closer to your retirement date of 2060, the fund automatically rebalances itself to become more conservative, shifting from stocks to bonds. You literally buy it once, and you never have to touch it again.
And for those who want a little more control than that?
Index funds. This is the classic Boglehead or Vanguard model. Instead of trying to find the one winning stock, the needle in the haystack, you just buy a fund that owns all the stocks in the market. You just buy the whole haystack.
This requires a big mental shift, though. It requires accepting the concept of being average.
And that is so hard for high achievers. In school, being average is bad. In your career, being average is bad. But in investing, average means you match the overall market return, which historically is around 8% per year, compounding over the long term.
An 8% compounding over 40 years turns a small amount of money into millions of dollars.
It's wealth-building magic. The great irony is that people who try to beat the average usually end up with below-average returns because of high fees, taxes, and most importantly, emotional trading errors, panicking and selling when the market crashes.
So, be average, be boring, and get rich.
That's the formula.
Now, he does briefly address the FIRE movement, financial independence, retire early.
He does. He respects the math behind it, the idea of saving 50% or even 70% of your income, but he cautions against the potential misery aspect of it.
Right.
If you're eating rice and beans for 10 years just so you can retire at 35, are you actually living your rich life along the way? He emphasizes that you can dial your own speed. Maybe you'd rather work until you're 50, but you get to take nice vacations every year. It's your choice.
Okay, so the machine is built, the system is running, we're investing automatically. Part 6. Maintenance and the rich life in practice. Once this is all running, do we just walk away forever?
Almost. He suggests a very brief yearly check-in. Maybe every December you spend an hour on it. The main thing you need to do is something called rebalancing.
Explain that.
Let's say your target investment allocation is 80% stocks and 20% bonds. If the stock market has a great year, your stocks might grow to be, say, 90% of your portfolio. Now you're accidentally taking on more risk than you planned.
Okay.
So You rebalance by selling some of your stocks, which means you're selling high, and using that money to buy more bonds, which means you're buying low, to get back to your original 80-20 target.
It forces you to automatically do the one thing everyone says you should do: buy low, sell high, but that no one actually does emotionally.
Exactly. And that yearly check-in is also a good time to renegotiate your recurring bills again. Spend 1 hour calling your cable company, your cell phone provider, your car insurance. You can almost always save a few $100s a year.
Let's talk about the big purchases, the stuff that costs real money. He starts with cars.
His advice here is super pragmatic. He calls it the smart person's guide to buying a car.
Mm.
And it's basically buy used. Let the first owner take that massive 20-30% depreciation hit the second they drive it off the lot. And then, this is the hard part for a lot of people. Drive it into the ground. Keep it for 10 years or more.
And focus on total cost of ownership.
Right. Don't just look at the monthly payment. Look at
Ugh.
gas, insurance, expected repairs, resale value. A cheap, used luxury car with crazy high maintenance costs isn't actually cheap at all.
What about weddings? He calls out the wedding tax.
Oh, the industry markup is real. If you call a bakery and order a large white cake for a birthday party, it's $50. If you call and order the exact same cake for a wedding, it's suddenly $500.
It's predatory.
It is. But his advice isn't don't have a nice wedding, it's plan for it. Use that savings bucket we talked about for a year or two in advance. If a big wedding is part of your rich life, do it. Just don't go into debt for a 6-hour party.
And then the biggest purchase of all for most people, the American dream, buying a house. This is where he really challenges that invisible script we talked about.
He goes to war against the phrase, rent is throwing money away. He hates it.
I can hear people yelling at their speakers right now. But you're just paying your landlord's mortgage.
And he argues that rent is not throwing money away. Rent is paying for a service, a roof over your head with flexibility and no maintenance costs. When you rent, your monthly rent payment is the maximum you will pay for housing that month.
And when you own?
When you own, your mortgage payment is the minimum you will pay.
Oof. Because of maintenance, taxes, insurance?
Maintenance, property taxes,
Yeah.
homeowner's insurance, a new roof for $10,000, a new water heater, and the huge, often overlooked opportunity cost of the down payment.
Explain that.
If you took that $50,000 you used for a down payment and instead invested it in the S&P 500 for 30 years,
Yeah.
it would grow into a massive sum of money. You have to factor that lost growth into your calculation.
So he's not saying never buy a house.
No, not at all. He's just saying, run the numbers. Use a buy versus rent calculator. Often, especially in expensive coastal cities, renting is actually the smarter financial move.
Yeah.
If you buy, treat it as a lifestyle choice or a forced savings account, but don't blindly assume it's the best investment you can possibly make. The numbers often say otherwise.
That is a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow, but the math is compelling. Let's pivot to the soft skills before we wrap up. Love and money.
You have to have the talk. If you are in a serious long-term relationship, you need to be financially aligned. You don't have to merge all your money. He's actually a fan of having yours, mine, and ours accounts.
Yeah.
But you need to understand each other's invisible scripts and goals for your rich life together.
And in the second edition, he changed his mind on prenups, didn't he?
He did, yeah. In the first edition, he was pretty skeptical, seeing them as sort of planning for failure. But he says he's matured on the issue and now sees them as a pragmatic tool for clarifying expectations and protecting both sides while you still like and respect each other.
Finally, a rich life isn't just about accumulation. It's about giving back.
This is a beautiful part of the book. He says a key component of a truly rich life is generosity, moving from a mindset of me to we, whether that's tipping generously. He talks about the joy of being able to tip 50% on a breakfast check just because you can, and it will make someone's day, or donating to charities you care about.
He mentions his own community raising a huge amount of money for Pencils of Promise.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars to build schools in developing countries. That, he says, is the ultimate flex. Not a Lamborghini, but making a real impact, using money as a tool for good in the world.
So we've really covered the whole journey. We've unearthed our invisible scripts, we've built the conscious spending plan, automated the entire flow, invested in boring index funds, and started to think about what living that rich life actually looks like.
It's a complete, comprehensive system from top to bottom.
I want to end with a thought experiment he poses near the end of the book. He calls it the 10-year challenge.
It's a powerful visual. He asks you to imagine, if you had bought this book 10 years ago and followed this advice, just investing $100 or even $1,000 a month consistently, where would you be today?
And the math is just undeniable. You'd be sitting on a very, very significant pile of cash.
You would. But
Yeah.
he doesn't say this to make you feel regret. He says it to make a point. The best time to start was 10 years ago. The second best time is today.
It's never too late to start building that boring, beautiful machine.
Exactly. Ignore the noise. Ignore the hot stock tips from your cousin. Just build the system.
And Ramit actually asks his readers to email him. He wants to know, what does your rich life look like?
I love that call to action. It's not just about the numbers. It forces you to articulate it. Is it the shoes? Is it the travel? Is it the philanthropy? Define it, and then go build the machine to get it.
So that's our challenge to you listening right now. When this deep dive is over, just take 5 minutes, visualize it. What is your rich life? And then go live it.
Thanks for listening.
Go get rich.